Aloha, you're listening to the Rolling Vets podcast by veterans, for veterans, and civilians alike. I am Lucas Monster, co-host, and I'm flanked by my Marine veteran peers, Aaron Pata, Chris Ellis, and our special guest, Jackson Grant. We would like to extend an invitation to you, the listener, to journey inside of our realm to discover what it means to be a rolling vet. And here we are. You are our first veteran, or sort of, I mean, you're still technically a reservist, but the first person on this podcast that's not in the Marine Corps, that wasn't in the Marine Corps. Navy, and then Army. So
our branch cherry.
Yeah. You broke our branch cherry. So
glad it was me.
Yeah, I'm glad it was you too. Yeah, it's just fucking you and the only other person from another branch I had interested was Melina, and Melina's an old man. He needs like 3 weeks in advance, like 2-3 weeks.
Good old timer.
Yeah, like the old breed. But yeah, man. So you were in the Navy. We Aaron and I had the pleasure of serving with you in India Company. Where you were a devil doc, a corpsman. So people who, I think all Marines listen here, but if you're not in the Marine Corps, a lot of people don't know that the medical branch aspect of the Marine Corps is all run by the Navy. So like any medics, they're called corpsmen, any like priests and pastors. So all like the chaplains, dental, all that stuff is run by the Navy. So we have the luxury of you guys signing the paychecks and also taking care of us on that end. So you're originally from South Carolina.
I grew up right outside of Clemson, where the university is in South Carolina.
And so what led you, we ask every guest, because it's always an interesting story of like what led you to enlist into the Navy initially?
That's a fantastic question. Let's see. Well, I'd always, I guess, been geared towards the military. I don't, like watching like the war movies and whatnot when you're a kid. So I was like, that'd be cool. And then as like high school kind of progressed, I realized I really could not do anything else because I like barely graduated high school. Funny enough, I actually tried to join the Marine Corps. I was like dead set. Like I was like, all right, I wanted to be a machine gunner. I was like, let's do it. My parents I was still 17 at the time. And my parents were like, absolutely not. But my brother's baseball coach was like, hey, I used to be in the Navy. Why don't you come talk to me? And I was like, all right. So they set it up. I came over to talk to him. He was a reconnaissance corpsman back in like the first push into Iraq in the early 2000s. So he was telling me about the whole like greenside corpsman thing. And I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. I like medicine stuff. I've always been interested. And so I was like, all right, I'll do that. And funny enough, I went to MEPS with the Navy, and the only job they offered me right there was corpsman. And I was like, okay, so sign that away. And
really? So you almost went like as like an open contract in that sense, where you're just like, I'll just take whatever you guys gave to me.
Well, I'd really wanted to be a corpsman, and I was just kind of blown away that they didn't offer me they didn't even offer me like undes. It was like the only piece of paper. They're like, here's a corpsman contract. You want to sign this? And I was just like, yep. That's how it went.
Yeah. And before we get too far, you want to do your disclaimer?
That is a great point. Full disclaimer. Anything that I say or do does not represent anything with the Department of Defense or the United States military, and any views that I say is not represented by the United States Army.
Awesome.
So I got a question for you. So can you explain to us the difference between blue side and green side, and what you like do, or how you become a green side corpsman?
Yeah. So honestly, it's blue side Navy is what the Navy refers to as like big ships out on the water. That's blue side Navy. And then there's the green side Navy that's kind of balled up into the corner, into the dark depths of the basement, and that's everything that has to do with the Marine Corps side of the Navy, right?
The fucking disowned side.
Right. That's the Marine Corps side of the Navy. And that's what that's kind of the difference. So, a lot of people ask you, oh, were you blue side Navy or green side Navy? And I actually had, I guess, the fortune and misfortune, depending on how you look at it, of being green side my entire naval contract. So I did really, outside of training, I never experienced any blue side Navy commands.
Wow. Okay.
So what made you want to, like, when you got into the Navy, you go through boot camp and then you have to get sent to like your corpsman school, They have a separate. Don't they have a separate corpsman school for people going greenside?
No, well, they might do now. I'm not entirely sure. When I went through, so your pipeline was you did your 8 weeks of boot camp up in Great Lakes in Illinois. And then after that, you had to go to Hospital Corpsman A school, which is just general. Every corpsman, no matter what your specialty is, you go to that A school, and that's in San Antonio, Texas. So you do that. And I forget, that was maybe like 4 or 5 months. And then they cut you orders from there. And it's just kind of a roll of the dice. You could be sent to go be, like an X-ray tech, a surgical tech. I actually got lab tech orders, laboratory technician orders out of A school, and I did not want to do that. I was like, I want to be greenside. I want to go with the Marines.
Weren't you sewing up vaginas for your first couple?
Yeah, dude. So funny enough, so after the whole, I had to fell out of lab tech school. I was like, I'm not going to be a lab tech. So I purposely fell out of that school. Kind of got in trouble for that.
He's going greenside.
Yeah.
Greenside
or no side.
They're like, all right, greenside for you. And I was like, okay, cool. But then you have to go to field medical service technician school, which is either in Camp Pendleton or Camp Lejeune. And that's where you learn all your trauma and tactic, your trauma medicine and all the kind of Marine Corps basic tactics. But there's a holding period, right? So my school didn't pick up, I don't think, until July of 2015. And I'd been released from the Corpsman School in San Antonio in like April. So I went to Camp Pendleton to the hospital there and did rotations on labor and delivery and postpartum floor at the hospital there, just to build up, clinical hours or whatever.
Yeah.
So that was my first exposure to patients, was like childbirth.
Did you choose that or no?
No.
Okay.
You show up, they're like, labor and delivery needs a body. There you go.
All right. So I got a baby on the way, bro. So like, I'm going to experience that shit for the first time. So how was the experience in first time?
Oh, and Jackson's a 2-timer dad too. He's
I have 2 kids.
One
first.
One this year, right? One was earlier this year or late last year?
December.
Okay.
Yeah, December.
Congrats.
Yeah. So congrats, man. Number 2.
Appreciate it. Woohoo. It's crazy, man. For my daughter, she was born back in Hawaii when we were stationed there. So I watched. It was like a full vaginal birth. So I was like, I've been in medicine. Like, I'm gonna watch this dog.
Yeah.
I did not watch the second one. I was like, I'm gonna stay up and pet my wife's head or something. Like, up at the top.
I'm gonna watch, bro. I gotta watch.
Bro, watch. But like, you'll never want to watch again, dog. You're like, bro, I did not know that could open that big, dog.
Yeah.
Did not know. Oh my gracious.
Oh shit. God damn. I couldn't. I'm definitely like a hand holder, like brush your hair kind of guy. I don't think what is that?
So a lot of women actually have issues during childbirth, is because they say it feels like you'll feel like anal pressure. Like you have to take a poop, right? Because the baby's head's crowned and then they're bearing down. So a lot of women, they'll bear down to push the child out and just explosively crap themselves, and it'll get like all over the bottom of the pan. Luckily that didn't happen, with my wife. I didn't see any of that.
Yeah.
But
can't sometimes the baby tear. Can't the baby like swallow the shit too sometimes? I think in some cases, right? Yeah.
Sure. And a lot of women tear too, so you can actually rip kind of the skin and muscles from the vaginal opening to the anus, and it'll just tear. So
that was a rough day. Rough day.
Imagine doing that for like 8 hours and like going back to your bed.
Yeah, welcome to episode 8, everybody. We just gave you a crash course on on fucking childbirth.
Fucking high school to fucking A school to watching fucking kids get fucking born.
What's that?
That's the video? That's what I'm here for.
Yeah, what's the video they make you watch in school? Is it the miracle of birth? Is that what it's called? The miracle of life.
Ed in like middle school or whatever.
Yeah, the miracle of life, and they make you watch that 80s chick. There's literally a clip of childbirth from like the 80s, and she's got like this. The 80s, like the full bush,
fucking full bush,
like
South Carolina's sex education is no, we didn't do none of that. No, that did not happen. too Christian down there.
Yeah, I don't think we had that either. We had some fucking clip called "Just Around the Corner" in Michigan.
Oh, just around the corner.
Yeah, that's all we did.
Yeah, I do. I remember that too. That song is always like ingrained in my head for some reason because of that. because of that. But so you made it. So you were basically doing the whole labor thing, for a while before you said the surgical school? What was it called?
Field Medical Service Technician School. It was just called FMTB.
FMTB. Okay.
Yeah.
And you were doing that. What the fuck was that like?
That was a culture shock, man. Because a lot of people don't know this, but most of the instructors, there are corpsmen, obviously, there at the schoolhouse to teach
but most of them
you,
are Marines,
like,
right?
trauma. Most of them are Marines, bro.
Yeah.
Like grunt Marines. And so like day one, it's like going back to boot camp again. It's like stand up straight. And I'm just like, oh my God, dude, like, what is going on, bro? And it's I think it's an 8-week course, and they go over all trauma medicine, and then they integrate it with these field ops where you learn just basic patrolling, fire maneuver. You go out to the range, that you do the O course, land nav, just basic stuff. And then by the time you graduate, you're certified to go serve with any greenside unit.
Okay. And you got the luck of the draw of India Company.
Yeah.
Well, that was random. That was also random. I show up to 3-3, and I don't know if any of you guys knew HM2 at the time, Hubert.
I did.
Little short white guy. He's now Chief Hubert. So Chief, if you're watching, my bad, bro.
I think I actually took his room.
Probably
when he left the unit. We met in passing. And he's a cool dude.
Really short.
Yeah, he left. He had like a chair. I think he left the chair to Doc Hill. I think he left at the Hill or something. Yeah.
Probably. They needed a body, and so he snapped. Like day one, I checked in. He was like, "You're coming to me, man." I was like, "Okay."
So when did you get to 3-3?
Little did I know. I think September of 2015. That's when I first checked in.
Yeah, way before us then.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So good old Jackson was my first corpsman. All right, I show up to the fleet for maybe like 2 weeks, right, with all the fucking checking in and all that. And the first class I get is from good old Jackson. He's got us up in the lounge, and he's like, "Hey guys, you want to start an IV?" And of course, one of the two motherfuckers that he picks is like, "Oh, let's get that guy." So he's like, "Don't worry, just stick the needle in, just stick it in." And I stick this fucking IV into his, and blood comes splurting out everywhere. It's a fucking mess. And he's like, "Don't worry, that's supposed to happen." Are you sure? Are you sure that's supposed to happen? But yeah, that was my first impression of good old Doc.
Okay.
I remember that y'all had shaved heads. I've still got pictures of that somewhere.
Yeah. I was bald almost my entire first year.
Yeah.
When I met you, you were bald. Yeah.
That sucks.
Yeah.
Fucking grunts, having to shave their fucking heads is stupid as shit. But I remember Jackson, I remember fucking calling you after Morrison's 24th birthday party. And you're like, "You need to take him to the hospital." And I was like, nah. And you sent Garish over to give him an IV in the barracks room?
Probably. I can't say I remember it, but that's sound. If it was late, I was like, nah.
You had
just throwing IV in him, bro.
Yeah, because Garish found one in like the back seat of his truck. He just had one, and he was like, "Fuck, it's about to expire." And
that sounds about right.
Like coat hanger up in the room, like Morrison's laying down on the ground, like with the coat hanger like attached to the fucking like wall locker thing you get.
That sounds about right.
Yeah, that's about right. That's field medicine for you. That's field medicine. Man. But there is one particular story though. I love telling this story because it is probably one of my funniest Marine Corps stories. And it was our first time at PTA, and remember there was that huge brawl between, I think, weapons and 3rd platoon. Somebody got hurt. I'm not gonna drop his name.
PTA 3 times.
Okay, so it was your second.
A lot of PTA.
Wait, I think it was your second time then. Might have been your second time.
Were you with us your first time?
It was with Jerry. It was the time we went with Jerry and the first time we went.
You guys weren't there when I went the first time. This was like 2015.
Okay, so this is so your second time. And fucking 3rd platoon weapons get in a huge brawl, right? Somebody gets slammed on your head. Is that ringing a bell now?
Somebody gets slammed on my head?
No, somebody gets slammed on their head while during the wrestling match. He ends up having a seizure in the field. Do you remember this?
I heard about this.
Brother, this is like half the Marine Corps stories.
Okay.
Someone got thrown on their head. Oh
Yeah,
my God,
so I'm not gonna, because of HIPAA and all that shit, I'm not gonna give his name, but he was in weapons platoon, he was a machine gunner, mortarman, and
I do remember this.
Yes,
that
yes,
mosh
yes.
pit fight.
yeah.
Yup.
So
Was
anyway,
he one of your peers?
no, he was
No.
my senior.
Yep.
Okay.
You know
okay.
exactly who I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
So this happens, right? A couple of days pass. We're out and all the way in range 1, which is the farthest fucking range from like what they used to call the home base on PTA. They start consolidation or whatever they used to call it, something like that, right? So the main camp where you have like the hospital, I wouldn't call it a hospital, but like the
BAS.
the BAS, like they actually have like a fire department there. All the pogues have been there the entire time. They've never even left the wire, kind of thing. Yeah, the dominoes.
Hey man.
So they're going to the gym and shit.
right?
And we're on the farthest fucking.
I was working out the
range.
entire time, bro. It was great. I got jacked at PTA.
But anyways, longer story longer. Shmee schmo. This kid just starts fucking having a seizure, like in the middle of fucking, like we're just chilling at the bivouac, has a seizure. We bring him up to the fucking COC where I'm sitting. I'm on radio watch. And so they're like, everyone get the fuck out. Like all corpsmen rush in, like all hands on deck, basically. Like Jerry's there, First Sergeant Moon's there. So, and I'm like, I can't leave. I'm on radio watch. So I'm like just sitting there, like watching, and I'm just gonna, what's his fucking name? I'm gonna just call him like Corporal Mike is what I'm gonna call him. So Corporal Mike was like laying there on the stretcher and going into shock. Like his body starts shaking. So Taryn, Doc Johnson, fucking, he's like, oh, we got to plug him. We got to check his internal temp. And they're like, he's like, hey, Mike, I'm going to have to plug you. And he's like, Mike's like, he's like, okay. And Mike's like looking at me. And I'm like, I don't know how I'm going to fucking like do this. So Taryn, like all the corpsmen help pull down fucking Mike's pants. And then Taryn goes, all right, and just fucking sticks it up his ass. And Mike looks at me like dead in my eyes and he goes, ooh, it's really in there.
Oh, shit. It'd be worse if he moaned though.
Did he at least like lube it up?
No, dude. He just Doc Johnson just fucking stuck that shit right in there. I mean, he might have lubed it up. I don't remember, but like I just remember like his eyes like oh shit, and he looked at me. He's like, oh, it's really in there, and I was like, yeah, bro.
For whatever reason, I don't know. It was like really stupid looking back on it, but I used to like. It was always like a rite of passage whenever I plug someone, like when they would be like half in it looking at me, and I would just take the thermometer and like spit on, just ram it up their rear end, man.
I can never look at you the same, bro. If you did it to me.
Oh shit, dude. How many think so? Okay, so whoever doesn't know what the fuck we're talking about, okay, so whenever you they need to check your internal body temp, like they're putting a thermometer up your ass. Like
this means like every time, like if you're in a hike and you like fall out and like faint during a hike, like you're getting
your ass is getting plugged. So the tip of the
do you want
thermometer.
To know the science?
No.
Do you want the science behind
it's
it?
all right. It's good.
All right.
So at the tip of a thermometer, it's just like a normal thermometer that you can get at like CVS or whatever. It's a silver, so like they call it the silver bullet. So you get it plugged in your ass. How many asses do you think? How many plugs do you got? How many bodies? How many bodies do you got?
What's your count, Doc?
70, 80 plus.
70 asses. And are some of these repeat offenders? Like,
yeah. Oh
okay.
my God.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's not like 80 different assholes. It's like
no, it's probably like 45 different people.
45 different people. That's still a lot of ass.
Yeah.
A lot of sweaty ass.
Yo, a lot of probably hairy ass too.
The J-Dub rectal temps are the worst.
Oh,
like
legitimate, like
5-6 days in jungle, just swamp butt, just oh my god, dingleberries that Tarzan can freaking swing on. It's bad.
Holy shit!
All right.
Oh man. Yeah. Okay, so you spent what almost 4 years with 3-3.
Yeah, almost right at. It's a 5-year contract. I think when it was all said and done, I
Yeah.
did 3 years and 11 months with 3-3.
Damn, that's a long fucking time. God damn, and almost all of it with India Company too. Fucking God's company.
Pretty much, yeah. 3 years, 10 months with India Company.
Yeah, it's
Well, like
fucking-
God's forsaken company, dude. Let's
yeah,
be
God's
honest.
forsaken company. But you were there for the glory days. I like to call them the glory days, the India Company, where we had that dope ass chain of command and
Oh.
everything was like we were like the best fucking. We were the hottest shit on the block.
Well, it's kind of a double-edged sword because like there was definitely some times where like the command was great and India Company was like, we were cool, but like I learned, even though I didn't make rank, I was just like, because people are coming in and going out,
Yeah.
but it was just I was just very consistent. Like hey man, what you see is what you get. It's me.
Yeah.
So like that last year or whatever, I think I rarely had any like issues with any. It was just like, go find Grant, man.
Yeah. 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 And so what's that? Like? Basically, you do was it the FNTV? Is that what it was?
FMTV.
Yeah. So you do the FNTV, right? You complete that, and then now,
Yep.
so now you're in your greenside. So you guys still had like musters and stuff, but like for the most part, like you're with an infantry company as as personnel of the Navy. So you're not even like there. So like, what's your day to day look like? Wait, what is your day to day look like? Gee, I'll get it out. And so
like in garrison, same thing. Like I'd go to company formation, PT formation in the morning. So I'd be out there. They get accountability. And honestly, man, I hardly ever would PT with the company. I hardly ever would PT. I was just like that freak of nature because we take the Navy PT test. You just got to show up, do your push-ups, sit-ups, run a mile and a half. Too easy, bro. Hardly ever PT, right? If they were gonna go play football or like go on a run, I'm a PT with you guys today.
Yeah. So
but 9 times out of 10, I just go back to my room and go to sleep.
Yeah.
He was in our squad, and we'd always seem to every morning they'd be like, "All right, companies PT your platoons," and then our squad would always go on a run. You just see Grant like, "No, I'm good," and walk away the other way. We're like, "What the fuck?"
It's a gray area. So like I'm on the company like personnel books, right? So they're accountable for me, but like I've got stuff to do over at the clinic.
Yeah.
But it's just
you get the best of both worlds.
Yeah, no one talks to each other, so you can just kind of float throughout the day.
That's basically what I did. Yeah, that's why I always, and this is something Melina and I joke about too, that corpsmen and radio operators are heterosexual soulmates. They're cut from the same cloth. They really are. Like you really know how to bullshit people to the point to either get out of doing something stupid. So like zeroing your rifle for like the 10th time in a row, and you're like, oh, I got other shit to do, or like fucking just every day-to-day bullshit. They're like, oh, we're gonna go do something stupid today. Like, oh well, I got something to do at the clinic. I got something to do at the shop.
Yeah, you motherfucker. Or
like, oh wait, I'm gonna go tight. You know what, Simmons? I got radio watch. Don't worry. Go zero your rifle. Piece of shit.
And so you had the expectation of having to be a rifleman as well. So in the Navy, I know you guys shoot pistols at boot camp. I think you shoot rifles at boot camp very briefly. So now you're getting
pistol and shotgun.
Pistol and shotgun. Okay.
Yeah, my first, well, being in the South, you shoot rifles and stuff. But my first like Marine Corps rifle range was at FMTB.
Okay, and they do that like the annual rifle training. That's how that one's set up.
It's more of a fanfare. It's more of a familiarization.
Okay.
I think out of all of the time I was with 3-3, I shot the legit Marine Corps rifle call like once.
Yeah.
So
yeah, because you technically didn't have to, right? Or did you have?
No, we didn't have to shoot it every year. Once you qual, you qual for life, baby.
Yeah, that's pretty sweet. Dude, I remember Doc Esco fucking shooting, dude. Oh my god, dude, berm every time, every fucking time, dude. I hate to throw my man's name out there like that, but
I was pulling his pits
that time. We were all there.
I was pulling his We were in the pit. I was pulling his
we
pits,
were right
and
next
it was like nothing, baby.
Hey, speaking of the range, that's how me and Potter got acquainted right there.
Oh yeah. That was my first experience.
And so the range has changed a little bit, hasn't it? since we got out. I think they changed a couple things about the annual rifle training.
I shoot the Hua Hua Army
shooting?
range these days, son.
Yeah, what's the Hua Hua? Okay, so we'll get to the Army in a second. I definitely want to the Navy time, especially this is the time where we like, especially Aaron and I knew you like very personally as well, like during this time. And so you have to now you have to get a basically like familiar with like the weapon system. You're almost treated in a lot of like movements and stuff as kind of like an extra like rifleman as well.
I got stories for days.
So
on
now
that.
I think it was there's two thoughts of process with that. I think you get, and like I'm not here to toot my own horn, but I would always pride myself as trying to like learn
the infantry
grunt's job.
Yeah.
Because like until I'm needed as a corpsman, like I'm there, I'm carrying a rifle. It's I've got to watch out for my life. So like I better know what's going on around me. I better know, the movements we need to do, where we're going, what needs to be done. Because it sounds so freaking corny. It's a team effort, bro. You know what I mean?
Yeah, really. It's like I always like would associate when people are like what was like running like ranges, like these big exercises. It's like an orchestra. Like everything is like perfectly timed. Everything needs to go like a certain way. And if something doesn't happen, like you just skip over it. Like it doesn't matter. You just figure it out. You skip over it. And it's like everything has like a flow to it and like a rhythm to everything. I think that's like
there was a good 8 months that I had a 203 on my M4.
I remember this. Yeah. I remember this, dude.
And people were cool with it. They're like, Doc, you got a 203? I'm like, yep. They're like, why? I'm like, kill people. I don't like, what are you talking about? Okay.
I do remember that. And so every Marine Corps platoon, at least, so it's set up with 2 corpsmen per platoon. Is that correct?
Yeah, technically you rate 4, but just with manning and staffing, and not being like in a combat deployed, you're gonna have 2. But obviously, if you deploy to a combat zone, they would augment 2 more from either HNS or pull them from other commands.
Yeah, I think radio operators are the same way.
What is that then? So is that each squad has 1 corpsman and there's another one floating, or okay?
Yeah. Each squad gets 1, and then there's like 1, I guess, senior corpsman in the platoon that just
technically, wouldn't it be like weapons? Because technically, almost all the time, like weapons would attach to like
a squad.
Yeah, I think realistically, probably they would go with the machine gun team, or if there was an MFP set up, they'd go over to the mortar team. But
which
but dude, most time is 2.
So that blows my mind too. Is that when you decided to basically, so did you get out or did you lap move from branch to branch?
No, I was out for 8 days.
Oh, so you were actually like EAS for 8 days.
And I was right?
IRR for 8 days. Say again, what's up?
You were a dependo, right? For a little bit?
Yeah. Well, I mean, technically being a reservist, My wife was still in for about a year after I'd left the Navy. And so, it was her dependent, I guess.
for 8 days. Woohoo. But, so did you already have the intention of like, hey, I'm just going to do the fucking Army before you got out of the Navy? Or was it during those 8 days, you were just like, I need to go back. I need to be doing something like, that's how it was?
Yep. Wow. That's exactly 8 days. I was like,
so are you a medic in the Army now?
No. Currently, so I used to be a mortarman in the Army, but now I'm a plumber. I'm a full pogue now.
Yeah, you were putting fucking
life.
Yeah, he was putting fucking warheads on foreheads.
Yeah, I remember he showed up to our CP before, I think it was our second workup, and he shows up with a bald head because shows up at the company CP. He's like, "Hey guys, you moved." I'm like, wait, who the fuck is that? I didn't even recognize him at first, and then I realized.
So,
hey, wait, that's
so did you do Army boot camp? Did they make you do Army boot camp?
I did have to go to Army boot camp.
Oh,
it was right after he got back, so he was still bald. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I actually got cut on leave. The Army, they let you take leave if it's over Christmas holiday, so I got 2 weeks of leave during the middle of boot camp.
That's fucking. Nice. That must be
nice. Some Army shit.
Yeah, it chunked it really is. It chunked it up. So I did 4 weeks, 2 weeks to leave, and then finished 4 weeks later.
Yeah. So why the Army? Why did you choose the Army?
I actually tried to get back into the Navy Reserves. I was like, hey man, just let me be a corpsman in the reserves. He's like, hey brother, we're full. Like corpsman is always just personnel heavy.
Yeah.
And they're like, we're full. And I was like, dang it. I was like, all right. Well, so then I called up the Coast Guard. I was like, hey, I was like, corpsman. They're like, oh, you don't get to pick your job in the Coast Guard. You've got to be undez. I was like, thanks for your time.
That's what they told you.
What?
Yep, they did. That's pretty.
Period?
Yeah, just period in the Coast Guard. You don't get to pick for the first like two or 3 years.
Oh, that's only that's the apprenticeship. But you shouldn't have gone in as an apprentice.
I spoke with the lady. She said it didn't matter. She says you go in undez. So I was like, nope, not for me. She was like, thank you. The Air Force guy would never call me back. And I went and talked to the Marine Corps recruiter to try and get a waiver for my tattoos. And he said no. So I was like, here I come, Army.
Army was your last choice.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I see. Respect for that. For sure.
No tattoo policy now, though.
We're not shit talking the Army. I'm not shit talking the Army.
Right.
I have some really good friends that had served in the Army and stuff, but there is a rivalry. Like, let's be honest. Like, there's a rivalry, and let's just say they're not on the winning side of the rivalry.
JV.
And they're not in any case.
Army's super JV.
Yeah, and I couldn't imagine. So, what's that adjustment like, especially since you were a greenside corpsman, and almost besides the fact that you really didn't have to 100% like abide by the Marine Corps standard. Like, I know for a fact, like knowing you personally and serving with you, that you definitely tried, and at least in like conduct. I mean, you're obviously you were belligerent in some regards. Like, I'm not gonna sugarcoat that. Like, the hair was belligerent as fuck. Like, I think the sleeves, cuffing the sleeves, the whole fucking nine. Like,
I think a typical corpsman shit though.
Yeah, typical corpsman shit. And the fact that you were, did you even reach E4 in the Navy before you got out? No,
son.
Terminal E3. I think you got ninja punched within the first year.
I think it had been a little over a year.
Like within your first couple months in 3-3, right?
For what? No, we just gotten back from that deployment, and then I got punched deployment. 2 months later.
Yeah. So so that's the standard you're basically being held by to go to the Army. So what's that like? Is it like, so you're saying it's like a JV squad? It's like you were in the pros and now you're in a JV squad.
It's my mortar unit. So my mortar detachment in Hawaii, nothing but mad respect for those guys. A lot of people crap on the reserves. Well, the Army, is he in the mortar unit in the Army there?
No. You were talking about the mortar unit in the Marine Corps. It was like,
oh no, my mortar unit in the Army out there in Hawaii.
So you're
still in Hawaii?
Well, is it because
no, not anymore?
Well, no, he's not anymore. But like you went back to Hawaii after boot camp because your wife was still stationed there, right?
She was still in the Marine Corps at the time,
and then
that was
one way to do it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So those guys super professional. It's a mortar detachment. The unit is actually headquarters, I think, out of America, Samoa, and Guam. But our 60 millimeter mortar detachment is on Oahu in Hawaii, and it consisted of me and 4 other guys. Was the entire 60 section for the, oh my God, I can't remember the battalion. I can't remember.
That's only like 2 guns, if that.
No, we had 1 gun, and
just one gun.
It was the 400 Battalion, 442nd Infantry, and a lot of the guys, they had a lot of time on the mortar system, and me being fresh, I didn't. But I'd been exposed to kind of the Marine Corps 60 millimeter mortars, land nav also. So I picked up doing the FDC. So I got really good at doing FDC for the mortar line. So that's all. I hardly ever touched a gun. I just did FDC, and it was literally for like a month and a half or 2 months.
Oh shit! Damn.
Yeah.
And so, what made you? So, did you choose that job in the Army? Like, you wanted to?
Yeah, I was like, well,
I don't blame you,
can
dude.
I be a medic?
Yeah.
And they were like, hey, you've got to go back through medic school, and I was like, absolutely not.
Yeah.
I was I'm not doing that. They're like, all right, well, do you want to do anything else? I was like, I'll be in the infantry, and that's the only place you can be in the infantry in the Army Reserves is in America, Samoa, Guam, and Hawaii.
Wow.
That's the only infantry. 100 Battalion, 442nd Infantry is the only infantry unit in the Army Reserve, and it dates back to that was the Japanese American battalion during World War II. You know, because there was that tension or whatever. So the Army people that were of Japanese American descent were the 100th Battalion Full 42nd Infantry.
That's
so
fucking
it's
dope.
a historical unit.
That's great knowledge. That's great knowledge right there.
Yeah. Yeah, so I was like, all right, I'll be in the infantry. They're like, all right, man, well, you get the choice, because, you know, most Army grunts don't get the choice. They get told what they're going to do, you know, after they get to their boot camp and OSIT. And I was, you know, me having just spent almost 4 years with the Marine Corps infantry, I was like, immediately, I want to be a mortarman. They're like, okay. And so that's how I did that. And they screwed up with my training. Infantrymen in the Army are supposed to go what's called an OSIT, and it's like one unit station. It's where a lot of the combat MOSs in the Army do boot camp and their A school or AIT in the Army
in the same place.
One stint. One stint.
Yeah.
So it's it. But since I was a will train, meaning I didn't have to go to like an AIT for infantry, I went to the wrong boot camp. They sent me to the Pogue boot camp at Fort Jackson, South Carolina. So I did my boot camp there, went back to my unit, and then got spun up on the gun system back in my unit.
So at Relax in Jackson?
Yeah,
they called
much, man. that place is a joke. Yeah, so I did that, and then once we moved to start college back here in South Carolina, I had to transfer units. So I transferred to an engineering unit up in Asheville, North Carolina, where I'm a plumber currently.
So did you have to go to like an MOS school for that, for plumbing, or no?
Yeah, I did. And actually, a lot of people are hesitant, but a lot, especially the prior service guys, they send you to essentially it's like a retrain school. So it's not the traditional, you know, schoolhouse. They send you, I went to like a 2-week crash course in New Jersey this past summer. So to learn how to be a plumber.
Plumbing's like a good paying, like blue collar job. So like that probably gives you opportunities, even though they're going to college, like outside of the Army.
If I were to pursue, I think you get some time off your apprenticeship or journeyman's license, but yeah, absolutely. That's something you could go pursue out in the civilian world 100%. And I enjoy plumbing. We hardly ever do it just because we're a reserve unit, but it's a great profession, and it was a great school. I have nothing but great things to say about that Army school I went to for 2 weeks, which is kind of weird. You're like, oh my God, you love the schoolhouse? I'm like, listen, man, that school was, because it's big boy school.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah, I think I was the lowest ranking dude there. And at the time I was a PSC, and it was big boy rules, all prior service people reclassing. So it was good.
Oh, damn. That's pretty fucking gnarly. So like, obviously, I mean, you and I talked a little bit before, like off air. So you're still in the reserves, and and you're a full-time student. Are you a full-time student?
Yeah, full-time
student, nursing
student.
Yep. Nursing student. So you still wanted to stick with the medical route. Took a little hiatus there for a little bit, and then came back to it. You feel like it's your calling?
Yeah. It's a great question. I don't know that it's my calling. I think it was just like, hey man, I spent the last like 5 years doing like trauma medicine stuff in the Navy. So it's like, where do you go from here? And I was like, all right, well, I guess nursing school. So here I am.
Yeah, nursing school. And then what do you know what like form of nursing you want to get into?
So personally, I do ROTC at Clemson University. So I want to commission back in active duty as a nurse for the Army. So whatever they tell me to do. But after that,
why not go into the back into the Navy with the medical route? Why go into the Army?
They don't offer naval ROTC at Clemson University.
Okay, so it has to go by with your ROTC basically.
So I could take a package to a recruiter after I graduate, like a Navy recruiter, and be like, hey, I want to be a nurse. But just that hassle is just so much harder than traditionally doing like an ROTC program at college.
Okay.
Right now, how many years are you at total in the military between the Army and the Navy?
I think I'm going on my 8th year.
8th. And then does your time in school count as that because you're doing ROTC?
Well, I'm still a drilling reservist. So that time still counts, but there's a program called the Simultaneous Membership Program. I'm not a part of that program yet, but reservists and guardsmen can do it, to where essentially some of their ROTC stuff counts as some of their drill obligations, and they get paid kind of for doing both.
Dang, double dipping. So they basically double dip.
Yeah, you can double dip. Yeah.
Right on. And then, so what's your end goal with this? Because obviously you can't stay in the military your whole life.
Nope.
Are you trying to? Are you
Are you
trying
trying to do your 20?
Yeah,
Are you trying to get out? Like, what's?
I think I'm working on 8 years at this point, so I think I've kind of already answered that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Especially since I think Andy was doing. You remember Andy? Was Andy your favorite? Was he your favorite officer?
In hindsight, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, he was.
Yeah, but
Yes, he
so
was.
I think so. Andy, when he went through college, he did ROTC, and so
He did. Yeah.
So when he commissioned, he actually got he was at a higher pay grade than a lot of his peers because of time served and stuff. So I mean, that's a pretty good route to go for people who are thinking about they wanted to go to college first and do ROTC program, like those summers and those weekends or whatever you dedicate to ROTC, like they accrue, and that counts as like time in service when you finally commission. So, and then don't they ROTC don't they kind of help with school also, like payment wise?
So they can. You can absolutely be on scholarship for ROTC, and part of that simultaneous membership program, they give you like a stipend for living expenses and whatever. It's not much. I think it's like $500, but still, like a single service member doing that. That's more than at least cuts down on costs. So yeah,
definitely.
Aaron, didn't you were thinking about going back in as an officer? Do you still want to do that?
Still, it's like on the table. It's one of those things where like I would love to go back in as an officer and fly jets. Like that would be amazing.
Top Gun.
But again, they don't offer like that specific MOS. Like I could sign up for it and be flying cargo.
Yeah.
Like so like there's certain MOSs just don't have are full on manpower, and they just don't have openings. So it's kind of like sprinkle it on there. And then I was looking at the Navy too, but they don't offer any kind of like, they're just like, hey, you're air, like figure it out. Like at least this way you can find like fixed wing versus rotary. That one is like your air.
Yeah.
So going into flying jets and shit. Let's get into this Ukraine.
Oh man,
I was waiting for you to ask, dude. I was waiting for you to ask about Ukraine, bro.
Bro, I think it's funny that people always text you, especially still like being a reservist, like, hey man, you heard anything? I'm like, listen, dog, unless Putin needs his freaking toilet fixed, I'm good.
Yeah.
People ask me, they're like, hey man, what's going on? I'm like, dude, I don't fucking know.
Well, let me ask my sources.
I don't know what I'm gonna eat for dinner.
Let me call a guy. I know a guy. Like, no, nobody, dude. I get that too, dude. And I get a lot of people are just like, hey, like, you were in the military. What do you think? Are we going to war? And I'm like, fuck no, dude. Not even close, dude. Like, they had already invaded Ukraine in 2015. So Jackson, you were already in. And then us three, like, we got in like early 2016. So like, if we were going to do anything, like, we would have done something, I think, then.
Yeah, pretty much how my stance on it is, unless they invade a NATO country, like nothing's gonna happen.
Nothing's gonna happen.
I don't think he's gonna be trying to do that.
And that technically wouldn't, I don't think it would be considered like a declaration of war by Congress. I don't think Congress passes a declaration. So it's just probably gonna end up being just a NATO conflict. Kind of how like Korea was just a UN conflict technically, but we made up literally like 95% of the forces.
So
Congress does not have to authorize
the
war declaration if it's an attack on NATO.
That's what I'm saying.
Already agreed to those terms, you know.
Yeah. So I mean, fuck, we just pulled out of the Middle East, with our fucking tails between our legs. Like, I think big government, big fucking the big boy feds are looking for another nail to hammer. Is what they're doing.
Well, what if Russia takes over Ukraine and then China invades Taiwan?
But I mean,
I'm a little more skeptical personally. Like,
me too.
People are like, no, the U.S. will never get involved in that. I'm like, yeah, man. Like, at face value, I don't think we will. But all it takes is just one little hiccup or incident, and then life as you know it, bro. Gone. Like,
I'm called back.
You know what I mean?
Chris is called back. Aaron's called back. Stop loss, stop move. Okay. So this is my.
That'd be crazy. That'd be crazy.
So I think if anything's gonna happen, I think realistically this is exactly what's gonna happen. So essentially, if Russia actually succeeds in capitulating the Ukraine, like, we're just gonna pump so much fucking money and give them so many guns, like we're gonna fuel a fucking insurgency and a resistance movement in the Ukraine, and that's probably going to be the extent of our involvement, unless there are like fucking what is it, violations of the Geneva Convention. At that point, if there's any actual like plausible, like investigated, proven violation of the Geneva Convention, like I could see like any kind of war crime. Oh, dude, I could see us swinging the big stick then. But until then, I don't think.
I think
I don't see that either.
I think the fighting will go on for a few more weeks or maybe a few more months, and then it's going to die off, and it's going to.
Well, it's going to die off the news, and then they're still going to be killing each other over there.
Yeah. So I don't see it happening, man. Like the only way I see it happening is if China invades Taiwan, because we have a fucking treaty with them, right?
Yeah.
Russia, Ukraine, that's been at it since what, 2016, 2014.
Yeah,
like,
2014.
That's been ongoing tension. Yeah. Like, yes,
but
they're actually
never
like
been as kinetic. It's
true.
never been as kinetic as it is now. This is unprecedented. This is something Europe has not seen since World War II.
Yeah,
you know,
which is insane.
I mean, you've got Putin threatening to use nuclear weapons. If that happens, obviously all life on Earth ends. Yeah,
well,
whatever.
So I was telling my girlfriend this too. Like there's nothing. We all remember the Hawaiian Missile Crisis. All right, you know, we might have been in Japan at the time, but we're survivors. Okay, like, let's get that. Let's get that.
Just survive a nuclear attack.
No, it's a false fucking warning system. Piece of shit.
So basically, with that being said, that makes me an expert, you know, on this kind of stuff. But so our we don't have an anti-missile defense system that's going to like shoot down a nuke. And it's never going to be just one nuke. It's going to be a multitude of nukes that are going to hit the same time. And we're going to push the button too. But like, it doesn't even matter when we push the button. You know why? Because the only reason we're pushing the button is basically as a last fuck you to the people who just annihilated us, because there's nothing we could do to stop it. So like, that's the one thing I have a problem with it, is like, hey, if they fucking launch nukes, we just have to take the L. We just have to eat it for the sake of humanity. I think at that point, if we fire them back, you know, we fire it back.
Man. They nuke us, nuke them motherfuckers. No,
right? That's for an eye, the whole world's gone, you know.
Fuck yeah.
I don't see them using a nuke against us unless something crazy. I think maybe a tactical nuke in Ukraine, but even that's like far fetched.
Yeah,
I think they can shoot it down. Way. I think if a nuke were to come from like a distance, not like Russia to Ukraine, I'm talking like across the ocean. I think we can shoot it down then.
What, so like impossible mission force? Ethan Hunt's gonna go fucking find a suitcase and like disable the bomb as it's like on its way to the United States.
No, so we do have something called the Aegis defense system, but it's only like at a 60% like
success rate.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
and so if they launch 100, we're only gonna get 40. Exactly. Yeah, because we always try to fucking play up our numbers. But like every country does. But imagine that they launch 100 nukes, right? Which they have.
We'll get smoked.
40 of them are going to connect in best case scenario. Like, what the fuck?
Don't you live in like San Diego or like Los Angeles?
Yeah,
or
number
something?
One target, man. San Diego.
Yeah, bro,
naval
you're
base.
Screwed, dog.
Nice knowing you guys. This is our last fucking podcast. You know, we lost one.
But yeah, I mean, it is. But at the end of the day, like, it is fucking sad that the Ukraine is getting like. I don't even know who's winning. I try not to like follow it like that closely because I don't want to get like emotionally involved in it. But it is sad, that the fucking Ukrainians are basically getting their shit kicked in by the Russians. The Russians are coming in and just like, I could not fucking imagine like that scenario in the United States. Like, obviously, like Jerry's fucking favorite movie of all time was Red Dawn. Like
the original one, right?
Wolverine! Yeah, the original Red Dawn. I remember when we were in Korea, and we can fucking talk forever about Korea.
Oh,
but
man.
Like
stories and stories.
Yeah, but like one of the first nights in Korea, like we're the only ones on this fucking base, and India company is. And like Jerry has fucking Captain Voss, then at the time Captain Voss, like fucking set up like this projector and like these small ass speakers for all of us to watch Red Dawn as like a company together. Like, it's a fucking great movie. It's always gonna live with me because of that. But
I never
another fucking Korean story though. But like, we always forget the real MVP of Korea is Jackson Grant. He is the one that got us the buses so that we can go to Seoul.
Yeah, he called them up.
Collected effort between me and Gio.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
We hustled some buses to get us to Seoul.
Pulled off a fucking feat. So
funded by Lieutenant Reed, right? Now Captain Reed.
I think so. He fronted the bill.
Yeah. I think, but I know for a fact I Venmo'd him money or whatever.
Yeah, I think
he ate a lot of it.
Yeah, I'm not a piece of shit. I didn't take a free ride. No, but like, so we were promised. We spent like a month fucking sleeping in the mud, and they promised us. And in fucking headquarters company, Chris, you know, they H&S. They're going out in town and drinking, fucked up, fucking having a ballin' ass time, and we're just like literally we're the last. Mud. Besides Kilo Company,
hey, I did my time. All right.
Okay. You didn't do like
I slept in a porter potty
because it was dry.
I slept in a porter potty because it was dry.
Dude, it's fucking crazy. Dude, I just remember like waking up one night because the water had filled the tent so much that I was like inhaling it, and I was like, "What the fuck?" Like,
bro, I have pictures. I was swimming. Like my tent was submerged. The water, it was water resistant, so like it could withstand it for a while. But eventually, everything was just soaked, dude. I was in a fucking puddle.
Yeah,
because they put us in a rice graddy field.
So
like that's made to retain water.
Yeah, we dig trenches, bro. We
dug trenches too, but we were in a rice paddy that was digging trenches in a rice paddy. We didn't have the
gravel.
Yeah,
we didn't have the nice gravel that H&S had. They put us in some farmer's plowed field.
Yeah. Some dude who murdered dogs and
were you right outside of where we were?
Yeah, so there was.
Oh, you guys had those fucking like mud. Those 4 foot fucking deep fucking trenches.
Yeah,
and that was the trap house next to the trap house.
Literally, I was not dry. I did not get dry until we went to Seoul. That was the only time I was dry the entire like month and a half.
We probably spent like you were in the shower for like 15 minutes and I took like a 20-minute shower.
That was the first thing we did was like when we booked that hotel room, we're like, dude, we're taking showers. Like we're taking long ass showers. Yeah. Like we made ourselves we made ourselves something. Oh, we had the soju. And and we were
the juicy juice boxes
in the juice box, and we're like, we're gonna drink these and take a shower, and then we just stalked their lieutenants on Facebook and fucking roasted them all like that first night. We were just stalking them all on Facebook and just roasting them all night, dude. Like the first night. But anyways, so before all that happened, so battalion recognizes like, hey, you guys have had it really bad. Like morale is at an all-time fucking low, and this is not a concentration camp. So,
dude.
So we'll get to that story. So they're like, we like fucking Captain Kent, now Major Kent, or even fucking General Kent by now, who knows?
He's still Major Kent,
but he was really advocating for us to go to fucking like Seoul, to get a couple days off, like R&R, you know, the whole nines, like send us back, you know, behind friendly lines and fucking you know, where they can rest and recuperate.
You've worked hard, gents.
So they plan this event or the couple days for us to go up there and then, you know, and then come back. So they were like, oh, battalion was like, oh yeah, for sure. Like we'll give you the fucking transpo, like the transportation, you let us handle that. We will be there on time. Like,
which has never happened in the history
about
of
us. Like, we will let nothing get in the way of you having a great time and building morale.
Wait,
we all fucking do. India Company woke
Everybody
up. We're all
believed
hype,
it.
dude.
Yep.
We're all hype as fuck.
There's
everyone's
like a buzz in the air.
Yeah. Everyone's all fucking. First sergeant's got his fucking, you know, his little hiking running shoe things going on. His
our op got canked. You remember that? Like right before that, like we were supposed to go out. We only stayed one night instead of 4.
Yeah, because they triple booked the range. They triple booked the range, and then dude, that's when fucking Gunner Law made that Korean officer cry. You know, Gunner Law, he paid his dues. He's paid his dues. Like that motherfucker. His family has bled for that country. You know, that's what he told that. That's what he told that little Korean officer who was crying in his office. He's like, you go to that Korean War monument. You look halfway down that fucking line, and you see, you know what it says? Sergeant Law. My kin died for your country. That dude was a fucking clown, dude. Oh, dude, I was at a fucking dive bar, like fucking when I first moved here to Maryland. I was in a dive bar, and this dude with like dreads, like sitting right next to me, and I was talking to someone about like the Marine Corps, and he looks over at me. He was like, "You were in the Marines?" I was like, "Yeah," and he just starts fucking grilling me like I'm like some stolen valor motherfucker. You know, maybe my Medal of Honor story wasn't that great or something. Yeah, wasn't that believable? But so he fucking so he's like grilling me, and then he realized, okay, like this dude is actually like a Marine, and then he was actually with 2-3 like way back in the day, and Gunner Law was his gunny.
Oh,
like,
fuck.
Yeah, it's small core, dude. Small core. But anyways, so yeah, so the range was triple booked or whatever. So yeah, that entire op gets fucking canceled. They promised us transpo so that we can go to Seoul, which is the capital of South Korea, for a couple days just to relax and shit. We were allowed to book hotel rooms. So Jackson and I, like, because luckily I'm in fucking headquarters, and as soon as I heard like they said like, oh, we're gonna let them like book hotel rooms, I went over to Jackson and I was like, dude, like we gotta go, we gotta get a room together. So we bought a room together. And fucking so we're all hyped, excited, ready to go. The radio battalion guys like snuck me a bunch of like these juice box like soju's that they bought from out in town, so we'd have a little bit of alcohol, and I was like, let's go. And fucking the buses never showed up. They never showed up. I remember
hearing about it from Rivera because he was in our platoon at first before being the Humvee driver. And he's like, yeah, man, you got to book a hotel. You got to book a hotel. And I was like, fuck yeah, I want a hot shower. I'm not seeing some goddamn tents outside of fucking Seoul. Screw that. And the hotel was right outside. Like there's like you could like look down on the peasants that were like mingling in the
dragon. The green dragon. The Green Dragon Hotel.
It's not there anymore. It closed down.
Oh, it closed down. That's so sad. Yeah. You know, Jackson, the only reason we got home that one night, we got absolutely plastered, was because of that fucking hotel card.
That business card. I had learned that trick from my first UDP. I went to Tokyo, spent a long night out in Shinjuku. Yeah. And I before I left the hotel, I grabbed a business card. So when I stumbled in the cab, I was like,
that's how we got, because dude, I don't even remember leaving wherever we were. We just had to get back, and it was fucking pouring rain. Like we're in the middle of fucking nowhere in Seoul. Like and fucking we're like, dude, we gotta get back, and don't know how. We're so drunk. I just remember being in the cab, and then like Jackson handing him the card, and then like us not even saying anything for like the whole trip. Dude just took off, dropped us off. I think we just paid him every fucking physical bill that we had on our bodies. And then I remember like walking through the gate, dude. It was like crossing the fucking DMZ, dude. Like, like the gate for this base, bro, was like, it was like 2 layers.
Stat wire.
It's like, yeah, it's a fucking like bunker, dude. It's like the bunker. The person like literally sits in a bunker. I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like storming Normandy. And we fucking, and like we like check in. We literally just hand like our hotel keys and our IDs, and they just like wave us in. And then I bought that umbrella off that couple for like 10 American dollars.
Yes.
Because it was pouring rain. And I just remember us both like walking up this fucking tall ass hill, like in the middle of the night, like frozen, dude, like wet, like our suits soaked, like.
We had bought suits.
Yeah.
That's right. We had bought like full blown suits at like an H&M.
Yeah. Oh shit! Yeah,
fucking CIA gooks walking up to the fucking base.
That's basically who we were, bro. We were fucking. Well, we were on edge because Seoul's a big fucking city, but like we were so scared that we run into somebody, because you were supposed to go out in a group of 4, and like we went out in a group of 2. So like we dressed up like businessmen, and we're like, that's what we told people we did. We told them we were businessmen.
Sold American steel to fucking.
Yeah, that's exactly what we said. Yeah. That was my go-to every time. So like when we were like, I remember the first place we hit was the Rolling Stones.
No, Hard Rock. Yeah.
And we were so paranoid, dude, to fucking get a drink. And I was like,
rum cock. You remember the rum cock?
Yo, we keep skipping over this. All right, so we were in our civvies. They call a fucking formation, right? The formation. They're like, hey guys, we're gonna get Libo. Transpo's gonna be here 2 hours after it's supposed to be here. Hey guys, so we just heard from headquarters that they cannot arrange Transpo. Libo is canceled. And I shit you not, you could hear a fucking pin drop.
It was just like it felt like the cherry on top for Korea.
Just like because we were out there the longest. We were out there 2 weeks before even Adbon got out there. We were out there. And they were just like, hey guys, I know we promised you Limbo, but guess what? No. So figure the fuck out. And here we are all fucking dressed up in civvies. Everybody's like, huh?
Dude, that
so I remember, dude, I went back into my tent. I'm like, well, fuck, I'm not changing back into my camis. I'm in my goddamn civvies. I'm gonna live it up in here. I got my fucking battery charger, my fucking like little fucking
everybody was just like, fuck it,
pack.
we're in civvies, we're having a civvies day.
Yep. And then next thing you know, we hear someone fucking saying, hey guys, we got buses coming. And everybody's like, yeah, fucking right. Like, I don't know about how it was in headquarters, but like in the tents, we were just like, I don't fucking believe it. I don't believe it till I see the goddamn buses here. Like, there's no way. I just, it's not gonna happen. I'm not getting my hopes up again.
The only reason I knew is because I was walking around bitching to everybody about how typical it was. And then fucking Jackson and Gio are just like scheming. They're like, okay, well, what if we get the buses? And I was like, oh shit, these guys are on to something over here,
Were they back in the back of the Humvee, fucking just, in a fucking cage?
I think Gio, like, because buses were taking H&S Company like all day. So like Gio ran up there. We had flagged down one of the driver, and we were like, "Yo, we need buses to get to Seoul. How much?" And he was like, he made a call. He's like, 1 second, let me make a call. And then he said, like, we could get 3 buses for X. And I was like, all right, 1 second. We ran. We told Captain Kent, and he was like, let's do it.
Yeah.
And we're like, all right. We're like, all right, cool.
Captain Kent was a fucking G.
And then the buses actually pulled up to our spot in the fucking dirt right outside. And I was asleep. I woke up because there was just people fucking like scurrying about. I popped my head out of my tent. I was like, what's going on? He's like, look,
we're fucking leaving. That's what's fucking going on, dude.
Let's go. And then I remember, I think Major Kent said something. He had a little huddle before. He's like, hey guys, headquarters let us down, but we have fucking Gio, we have Grant, and we have Lieutenant Reed to thank for this. Make sure you Venmo him money, and then we fucking took off. Everybody's so fucking hyped, dude. Like, it's like morale just like sprinkled down on all of us when we saw those buses.
Bro, it was like a long bus ride.
It was 4 hours.
Like,
it was
it
4 hours.
It was long.
It did not matter.
If we see that, my thing would kind of suck because we like got the buses like so after the fact that we didn't have like a whole lot of time that first night because they had like a fucking stupid ass curfew. We got there like 8 o'clock.
Dude, I went on.
We ate at that Mexican joint there at the resort.
Yeah, we did.
Was stuck in the 90s.
Yeah, and that food sucked. But and then you were like, I was like, dude, I'm gonna go buy alcohol. You're like, really? And I was like, yeah. I just fucking bought alcohol at the PX because we weren't allowed to drink. But I was like,
we were all dry. It was.
I bought us some Guinnesses. and we just and then we already had the soju. So we were just big pimping up there, just living it up like kings.
Bro, I love how they had said, hey, this is a dry, like dry libo. And I was like, and then the buses come to pick everybody up at the hotel on Sunday, and even the officers are sitting there like hungover, curled up. Everybody's hungover. Yeah. I'm like, yeah, okay.
I tell you
dry weekend.
There was never a worse feeling though when we got back to the mud pit and like where we were sleeping the bivouac, and it was fucking pouring rain. And like everyone's in their fucking civvies and having to squash, walk to their fucking like tents,
teabag
to change, change back in the fucking camis and shit,
camis,
and then to stay there for like another week or two.
Honestly, I can tell you the worst feeling about them telling we got libo and then fucking canceling on us. That was a worse feeling than that. Like, yeah, that sucked. We just had a good time. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Chris, how much libo did you get? How much libo did you have over there?
I don't want to hear it, dude. We had 2 days.
We had 2 days. We were there for a month.
The first time I got libo was like probably like this. Fish you guys. The second week I was there.
Fuck.
The second week.
So
dude.
I didn't shower for like 2 weeks. So we were there. Obviously, nobody fucking showers. Motherfucker, I'm saying obviously nobody showered. And I remember my hair felt fucking disgusting. Like, that was like the worst part. It was like my hair.
Yeah.
And we went out, and then the reason we got libo in the first place was because the our BC wanted us to get haircuts. That was the main fucking reason. So we went out, we got our hair cut, but we got our hair washed too. And like I loved feeling my hair so much that like I felt like all day long I got my hair washed again before we went back because I was like, man, I hate the fucking feeling of disgusting hair. And
what a fucking pogue.
dude, I hate it, dude.
Stay there. There's nothing
That's
else.
all I'm thinking of. Like, you're so
Dude, no.
my hair.
Oh, dude.
So
Okay,
dirty when you take your camis off, they like stand up straight on
Yeah,
the
no,
ground.
no.
And yeah, they stand. You can put
I've
your
been in the
camis in a
field.
position of attention.
Oh fuck! I've been through all that shit, but like I don't know why it was just like because it was so wet in Korea and shit, and my hair was just so nappy and like fucking sticking together and oily. I just couldn't fucking do it.
Oh, you were wet
Bro,
on
it
the gravel?
snowed.
That's
It
nice.
snowed when
It
we
snowed.
We
first
had
got on
ice. Yeah, we had
ground.
ice on
That
like
like
the
first day.
Yeah,
It
Yeah.
snowed.
And fucking weapons was doing QRF drills out there in the snow that whole night.
I
think the
remember
Winter
that. I remember that
Olympics-
yelling. Dude,
shit.
The Winter
remember-
Olympics were going on in Korea at that time, so everybody's
Oh,
cell
yeah, and
service was like
Pyeongchang.
boosted.
Yeah,
Yeah,
in Pyeongchang, because that was 2018. Yeah, that's so true. Yeah, that was fucking.
Maybe, yeah.
Korea,
Everybody's cell service was boosted because of the Olympics, so it was sweet.
yeah, that shit was so cool out there. I mean, it was kind of cool out there. Like, the whole majority of experience, like just because of like the military experience of being out there, sucked. But like the country was kind of dope. Like it literally felt like America.
Where can I get some
but, like,
tipsy cow? You know what I mean?
dude.
Dude, they closed that place down,
bro.
They
how'd you
they
guys
closed
come
that
into
place down.
Korea?
We flew.
That place was
Like a commercial?
Yeah.
Charter. I think it was chartered. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because like we came in, dude. That was like probably one of my coolest experiences ever. Like I took a CH-53 like off the ship. And as we're like flying off the ship, you could just like see it in the fucking big ass ocean. And we just like it's like a fucking 3-hour fucking flight into Korea after that. But
damn,
dude, just coming off the ship, dude, like that was like the badass.
That
was,
is
like,
pretty
the pinnacle
cool.
of my Marine Corps career. Just doing that.
You guys were not with India Company, my first UDP. We were the first unit to test the long range raid capability for the Ospreys.
Yes.
Oh my god, was this blue chromite?
It might have been
blue chromite. I think it was what it's called.
Yeah. You guys like flew right from Hawaii to Japan.
So they didn't brief us, bro. And like obviously, like I was super new at the time, so I didn't know any better. But they were like, yeah, we're gonna fly in Ospreys. And we flew so far in Ospreys, they had to do like 2 aerial refuels. So we flew from Okinawa to Camp Fuji on mainland Japan, which is like 4 or 5 hours in an Osprey. But like they're like, hey, it's a raid. We're only going to be on the ground for 30 minutes. So obviously you got your combat load and nothing else. And so, you know, you get up the elevation for the flight and you're sitting there like, yeah, freezing, bro. Like freezing. So I was like, screw this. I'm not going to freeze my rear end off on the flight back. So I gave everybody in the platoon a bunch of Benadryl. So we all popped Benadryl and passed out for the whole flight back. So that way we wouldn't be cold.
I heard you guys like you took off in Ospreys, right? You landed for like 15-20 minutes, unloaded a couple rounds, and then went back on the fucking Osprey for the flight back.
Yes. Yeah. It was it took like something like 16 hours, and we were only on the ground for like 15 or 20 minutes.
Imagine that, dude.
Dude, that's fucking.
I would be.
That's the full might of the U.S. military.
And you know, we were at that airfield staging at them Ospreys a good 16 hours before we actually took off.
That's what they don't show you in the commercials, kids.
Yeah.
Chris, that wasn't your first time in a 53, that was it?
No.
Yeah.
Okay, thank God. I was about to say.
No, fucking, but that was probably the worst thing coming back from like our first PTA. Your second one, was when we had to set on the fucking tarmac for like I think we were there for like
for that
16
C-130.
hours.
Yeah.
God damn, dude, people were like fucking dying like heat.
Yeah.
All go like we all were in the little airport. It's like buying all the vending machine waters and shit that they fucking sold out. We're like, when are you motherfuckers getting more?
Damn. Yeah, it's fucking. I think my first time was the first field op I ever went on. It was fucking where we went to all those different like training areas all over Hawaii and like
Island Warrior, Bougainville.
Bougainville 1. Yeah, Bougainville 1. Dude, that was my first field op, and I think I already told the story. Me not bringing a bivy sack and what a fucking idiot I was. But
stupid.
fucking, I don't know. I was just a boot. It was just a total boot move. Like my boot, like my straps on my fucking pack were all like fucked up, and like I was just a bag of ass. And then I remember like after the first day or like the second day, we're like running down, and I'm like, where the fuck are we going? And we're like, we're going to like the LZ. And I was like, the LZ for what? They're like, oh, we're leaving out here on fucking helicopter. I had no idea. And I was like, I've never been on a fucking helicopter, dude. And so I got on, dude, and I couldn't get the fucking seatbelt on for my life, dude. I couldn't figure it the fuck out.
Fumbling with it.
And because I'm wearing all this shit that like doesn't fit me right because I'm a fucking boot, and you know, it's all fucked up. And I'm sitting there in this fucking seatbelt I've never seen. It's just one does not how to like utilize this fucking apparatus here.
Dude, I figured the fuck out because of the helo dunker. What the fuck?
I never did that shit.
Yeah, I didn't go to the helo dunker. I
skated that shit.
You fuckers.
I skated the fucking.
Well, I went to the helo dunker multiple times, but up to that point I had never done it.
Oh, okay.
And so I had no idea what the fuck I'm doing until the dude just came over and was like, wah, wah, wah. The crew chief like fucking did it. And I was like, when we took off, I was like, this feels like being in like a fucking elevator. That feels like I'm in an elevator right now. And like, that's about it. I don't really feel
Ospreys. I don't know, dude. When I was in Ospreys, like you'd hit those like different air pockets and just fucking drop for like 100 feet. And you'd be like, this is it. Like this is where I'm going.
Yeah. And I get fucking like, I'm not a big motion sickness guy, but there was this one time when we were in ITX and they were doing the fucking like the movements and shit, the anti-missile movements or whatever. And fucking, I remember like we were passing around a box of Cheez-Its like around the Osprey, like when we were leaving. Somebody had to pack this fucking large ass box of Cheez-Its in their pack, and we're all just like, fuck yeah, like we're out of the field, like we're going back main side, fucking Warriors Club, let's go. Like fucking about to turn up, let's go. And then fucking so, but when it would drop, like the Cheez-Its, dude, would like just be like suspended and like it was like zero gravity. The Cheez-Its would just be like floating there, and then somebody else would like grab it. The crew chief was like jumping every time it dropped because he knew when it was gonna drop, and he would just be like in like fucking midair, and everyone's like looking like, oh shit, like science, bitch, like. But yeah, it was a fucking, and then I almost threw up because it was fucking.
I got a vivid memory of a Percio sitting across from me, and he was dead asleep. I'm just awake, just sitting there in this fucking Osprey, and it just drops, and he looks me dead in his eyes, and I thought he was gonna shit himself. I think he slept after that shit.
Dude, I think my worst experience on any aircraft was a 53. It was fucking leaking some weird shit. And there was an air crewman up top who yells to his other buddy. He's like, hey, is it supposed to do that in the middle of the flight? And he was just fucking with us. But like we were all like, oh fuck.
My buddy who's an aircraft mechanic, I told him like about that. I had a time where I was like sitting there for like fucking an hour, shit just dripping on my leg. We were just on the floor.
Is that a firing pin?
Yeah, that's what I said.
Oh yeah. I use it for like my weed stuff. Yeah, it's like the perfect like packing tool.
Yep, perfect for cones.
Yeah, it is. And so, anyways,
3-6, come get your guns.
I had a couple. You know, they didn't go on Libo, but I was on fucking terminal. But anyways, but he would always say when I brought up like the leaking stuff, he'd be like, oh, if it's as long as it's leaking, it means it's working. And I was like, okay. I mean, I guess that's one way to look at it. Like if it's leaking, that means it's at least like doing somewhat of its job, but not gonna kill us all.
Remember somebody, I forgot who, was just drenched in fucking fluid after that. His pack, him, everything just fucking drenched.
The worst is if you get that drenched and you like land and you're just now getting to the field and you have to like put up with that the entire time.
Hydraulic fluid smell.
53s are just so fucking slow. That's why I hated like writing on this because did you take them?
That's my favorite.
53s are your favorite?
Really? Oh,
it's my favorite.
I didn't like being up in the air, bro. Like that shit was cool and stuff, like taking off and landing, but like in between, bro, you're just sitting there, dude.
Dude, I did that so many times that like I ended up just passing out on those. Like, all right, nap time.
Yeah, sleep.
Well, it's funny.
You're like
how routine, especially with like India Company, how routine it became, like flying.
Yeah, everywhere we went,
we'd fly everywhere in helicopters, bro. Yeah.
Everywhere. Boots on the ground.
And we got to do. I don't know if y'all did it after I'd gotten out in Australia, but we did a bunch of fast roping and rappelling.
We did that.
We did that in Australia. Yeah.
So much fun. So we did it out of Japanese Chinooks. So it was a blast.
That sounds fun.
Badass.
Did any of you guys ever do that shit where like in Japan they would just like have a helicopter flying around with like 8 people dangling from it?
I did not.
You ever see that
Skyhook?
shit?
I saw that. They
Skyhook?
would
Yeah.
land. They would
It
land
was
behind
the,
the bricks, wouldn't they?
It's the Hearst. It's the Hearst course. That's one of the quals for the Hearst course.
Okay.
I never saw that.
I remember they fucking landed behind the bricks one time.
Yep.
And this dude got fucked up like when he hit the ground. I was like, oh shit. Like did not stick the landing, dude. I was like, I thought that dude was dead or something, but shit, that's fucking like that's pretty cool. I mean, the shit that we like the rappelling, I always hated heights, dude. Hated fucking heights.
Yeah. We didn't really do very much hiking, let's be honest, compared to like other units.
Oh,
Hawaii,
hiking?
yeah, hiking. No. But like
He said heights.
Well,
heights.
We did that hike.
We had
had
hikes
a
too.
hike workup when I first got there.
Yeah. The
We had
24 miler, right?
Yeah,
we worked it up. I don't remember our battalion commander's name, but like I got
Brady?
thrown into the fleet. It might have been. It was before Easton.
So I think Brady was before Easton.
Yeah, it was
Brady.
like thank God. Like I always like was in decent shape. So like I show up to the fleet and they're like, hey man, they were doing like a work up to 24 miles, and like every other week would be a 2 mile more than the last week. So they started at 2. So I got there, they were doing like they started at 8. So we would do 8 one week, then like 2 weeks would go by, then you do like 10, 12. But like, thank goodness, like I was in good shape, right? And then there'd be like some corpsmen that just like were not, and it was like that had just come out of school, and they're like, congratulations, welcome to the fleet. We got a 22 miler going on today, and they're just like, oh my god.
I think that was like one of the most embarrassing things about like being a fucking pogue is like when we would do hikes, motherfuckers would fall out, and I'd be like, "You fucking bitch."
Yeah.
Like,
H&S is in shambles. Shambles.
That's where we.
That was so fucking embarrassing. I never fucking fell out.
Uncle Sam's got their money's worth.
Yeah.
Corpsman. Uncle Sam's got their money's worth of corpsman on hikes, son. We were busy.
all those butt plugs.
Dude, we had a corpsman plug himself.
So many butts.
We had a corpsman plug himself after you left, Grant.
It's kind of weird.
I'm not going to name drop this guy, but
he plugged himself.
Shit, he was an HM2.
Oh, dude.
Think about it. We got
motherfuckers out there plugging themselves.
I know him.
Someone plug himself. No, I think he left, or he came in after you, but he was the most hated corpsman in probably the battalion. No,
I think I know.
He was
probably the battalion.
He worked at 3rd Reg before he came to 33.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
I know exactly
that motherfucker. And he picked up.
That
and everyone's like, "How, dude? Fucking
that dude was dumb as rocks, bro."
He still picked up though. Still picked up.
I guess I didn't. So who's the fool now?
Yeah.
No, that was always like a weird thing to compare because like Grant was always like one of the coolest corpsmen out there, and like he knew his shit. Well, somewhat. But
I think he did.
No, he knew his stuff corpsman wise, but like, oh man, do you remember Harrington laying into you on our first range?
Probably
It was right after Cabral left and Harrington came over. He was a new platoon sergeant, dude, and we were doing buddy rushing. You were holding your rifle like this, flagging everybody as you ran up, just like over the shoulder. Oh man, he yanked you up so quick.
Because I had it slung cradle in it, and I guess I felt like I didn't think I was being like I was running with it, but I guess he was PSO and he was like, nah, bro, you were like, I was like, oh, and he ripped into me, and I remember because every other range I think after that I made an effort. Like I would just always like have my rifle down, like no lateral swing at all. I'd be like,
dude,
like Call of Duty, just like
dude, 203 and everything just yanking it. Dude, that was legit. And then we had that shoot houses outside or in our base, and we would look up, we'd be like, all right, compound clear. Look to the right, you just see Grant pop out a window with fucking blanks, just start popping them off out of the window. We'd be like, he's like, who the fuck is that Marine? We're like, actually, that's our corpsman. He's like, what the fuck? Dude, that shit was legit though. I think I got a video of that too, because I was like recording up. We weren't supposed to have our phones, but like I had mine on my flag, so I looked up and you see you fucking pop them up. I'll see if I can find it and send it to you. That shit was dope, dude.
Probably. That sounds about right. He would beat it into you. And that was, I think Harrington was kind of the transition, I think, because like, there comes a point when you're new and you're like, I just need to worry about medical stuff. But I think during most of that workup is when I realized like know, like you need to know what these Marines are doing and how to be like an integrated part of the team. You know what I mean? And Harrington would let you know if you messed up. By God, that man would let you know.
Yeah, like it took a lot to get him mad, but like when it came to doctrine or anything like that, like if you weren't squared away, he was on your ass and he would ride it. But I guess that's what I liked about him though, because he was a really good platoon commander, especially coming up off Cabral, who was just a G.
Do you guys find that funny? Like looking back at maybe some people that like you're like, oh man, that guy was kind of mean or whatever, but you're like, man, that guy had it together. He knew what he was doing, you know, in hindsight.
Yeah.
I think it's just kind of funny.
Yeah, there's not really guys that like I really resented.
I disagree.
That weren't really, I feel like that I feel weren't worthy of like
oh yeah.
Resented. So like some of the guys, like when we talked about First Arm Red, like that dude deserves like resentment. Like there's not really guys where I feel like you know, oh, you fucking treat me like shit, and I'm not. I guess there's one. But him and I kind of got like a closer relationship like prior, after he came to headquarters, was fucking Serrano, dude. Serrano.
Oh yeah.
Oh, dude, like fucking fucked me up, like basically, like
I never had any bad experiences with him.
Really?
Never. I never did.
Well, it's because fucking Morrison, like my senior, would just like talk so much shit to weapons all the fucking time, and I was there too. So I'm just like, you know, I'm not gonna talk shit to the weapons seniors because those motherfuckers you want to get fucked up, like they will fuck you up. Like,
dude, they were like a fucking cavemen, dude. Like
yeah. So they were dope, but so he would just continue to talk shit with them, and like he would get into it with Serrano, and Serrano would fucking get into it, and then I would be like the second hand, like, you know, target. Like I get all the flack too, just because I'm associated. And then so like I fucking like kind of just had this thing in the company where I was like, yeah, the dude's kind of a dick. Like I don't really fucking like him. And then he became my platoon sergeant, and then totally 180. Like I was like, damn, so this is what it's like to serve underneath them. Like this is what it's like on a normal basis. Like I was like, he's a pretty fucking dope dude, like after the fact. And like like he was really like into teaching us. Like he's just a good teacher in general, I think. So like he just fucking was really good with that. But as we wrap up here, I do ask you, Jackson, you know, you didn't get out, you're still in, but what do you think, like if you had some advice to maybe yourself, like right before, I guess, either leaving for your first boot camp or like your second boot camp, like what advice would you have for yourself now?
Oh man. I guess I would say take life just a smidge more seriously.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's kind of reluctant telling it to like an 18-year-old kid. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But if I could go back and maybe not, you know, I don't regret any like choices or actions I ever made. But if I could go back and do something again, I wish I took tons more pictures and videos.
Yeah.
Because, you know, you can, I talk to guys that I serve with and even here now, and you like, you know, you forget about some things and you reminisce, but like it wasn't the high point in my life, and it's definitely not, but that was a big chunk of like, I guess, molding me as to who I am sitting here today. And I just wish I had more tangible memories of that experience in life.
Yeah. It's not fucking lame to take pictures.
Yeah. And like,
it's not take the picture, man.
Take the picture. You're not gonna regret it. You're not gonna regret it. And it's so bad because like it's kind of not like an association thing, but like if someone like we have people that like passed away, you know, and they committed suicide, and you're like, damn, like I had a really close relationship with that person, and you realize like I don't even like I was so close with this person, I don't even have any fucking pictures with them because it was lame. It was lame to take these kind of pictures together, like you know, it kind of sucks.
You're living in the moment, right?
Yeah.
So like you're with your buddies, you're having a good time. Someone's like, "Oh, let's take a picture." You're like, "Nah, fucking faggot."
Right. Like you're just like, no, I'm not taking a fucking picture. Like,
and on top of all that, right now, if you're listening to this right now, how about you reach out to somebody that you haven't reached out to in a while?
Yeah. Answer a fucking text message, or send a text message. Answer the call, or you know, call someone.
Make that call.
Yeah, make that call. You know, like it's
absolutely.
Were you bad at that, Jackson? Like at first, or like, do you think you're still bad at that kind of stuff, or no?
It's a great question. It's I have a core group of guys I still talk to pretty much every single day. Some of my best friends, I don't know if you guys knew them. They were in like other companies, but well, Garza was in India, then he was in
I remember Garza.
I don't know if you guys knew. Yeah, I talked to Garza every single day, and then Howard was over in Lima.
Okay.
And so I try to see those guys at least once a year. And then, you know, occasionally guys that hit me up and I'll talk to them and whatnot, but it's definitely something that, you know, I think everybody can improve on, including myself. Like, it takes 10 seconds just to reach out and be like, hey man, you know, thinking about some memories we used to have. How you doing today? It takes 10 seconds. What is 10 seconds of your day?
Yeah.
You know?
Exactly.
Whereas that could mean like literally life and death to the person you're hitting up. So
yeah,
you know.
Absolutely.
Not only that, but even if it seems, my thing is like, even if it seems like a little bit of inconvenience, like to answer that call, like you never regret. I've never regretted it. Like I've never been like, oh man, I'll call them back later or something and never call them back. Or like every time I pick up and I have a conversation, we're like shooting the shit, catching up. I never regret it. I never, regret picking up. So
you know who I talk to every now and then?
Who?
Oh, Captain Carlson, baby.
Yeah, I talked to him too. Yeah, I haven't talked to him as much since he had his kid, but
yeah, I try to keep up with him.
Yeah, he's a great dude, and he's a great dude.
Yeah, he's right out here in San Diego. Still haven't had made time to actually go out see him yet, but great dude.
If he wasn't still in, I have a good story like with him. Whenever he gets out, I'll tell the story. He swore me to secrecy. But
okay. Fucking let us know off air, you know?
Yeah. Okay. I can
Captain Carlson, if you're watching, you need to go ahead and get out.
Yeah. Get out right now.
Get out.
All right. Well, here we are. You stuck with us all the way to the end. We thank you for listening. We want our listeners to know if your pack becomes too heavy, don't drop it. The Veterans Crisis Hotline can be reached at 1-800-273-8255. If you'd like to enjoy more content, don't forget to subscribe, Semper Fi, and keep rolling on.
Hurrah! Hurrah!
Booyah.
Yeah, there it is.